Let's say we order a pizza, the shopkeeper packs it in a box and delivers. Once reached, we unbox the pizza and enjoy. In programming world, a variable works the same way as pizza box. We store some data in a variable and when we need, fetch data from variable and use in our application. But unlike pizza, the value of a variable is not consumed. It can be used as many times as we want. Each time we get the copy of its value. Let's say in this application, user enters his name. Application will create a variable, something like username, and store name in it. On the next page, app fetches the name from variable and show it on the screen under welcome. That's how we use variables practically in our applications.
Hey guys, in this lecture we're gonna see how to create and use variables, and we will also see why variables are important and their benefits. So let's get started. Let's say I want to create a variable for age. I can write age, and to store a value in this variable I can use equal sign, which is assignment operator, and to the right of it set its value, let's say, to 30. So in this line I have created a variable age having value 30. In real world it's like having a box with the label age and storing 30 in that box. So now that we have created a variable, we can use it in our program. Let's say I want to show the value of variable age on the console. For that I can write print and within brackets write variable name. Press run and you see 30 on the console. So that's how we can use variables. So here we have created a simple integer variable, a variable which stores a simple number. So let's remove this one and create more variables. Name. I want to store a name in it, and that should be a string. And to write a string, we can use either double quotes or single quotes. I prefer to use single quotes. So within quotes, let's say I set the value self. Let's create the third one. I will call it is student, and I will set its value to true. Now this is student is a boolean variable. A boolean variable is something which can store either true or false. I will set it to true. Let's create the last one. I will call it score, having a floating value, means a decimal number. So now we have created 4 types of variables. The first one is integer variable, which stores a simple number. The second one is a string variable, which stores a string. The third one is boolean, which can have only 2 values, true or false. And the last one stores a floating point number. Now let's print all of these values on the console. Write print age, print name, print is student, and print score. Press run and you see all variable values printed respectively. Age, name, is student, and score. Now let's see more versions of variables. Let's say I have a variable a having value 10, and I create another variable b also having value 10. As you can see, both a and b are having same values. We can do something new here. Instead of writing b is equal to 10, I can write b is equal to a. That simply means b is equal to 10. If we print b, it gives 10 as expected. So here you can see we can assign a variable to another variable. Here we are assigning a to b. So this is another way of using variables. Now let's do some mathematics using variables. Let's say I have variable a and b. Now I want to add these two numbers and print the result on console. The most simple way I can do is write print and within parentheses a plus b. The value of a and b will be added and the result will be printed on the console. Press run. You can see it gives 15. Now same thing we can achieve using a third variable. Let me show you how we can do that. Let's create another variable c and assign a plus b to this variable. At this line, what will happen? The value of a and b will be added and whatever the result is will be stored in variable c. And if we print c, it will give same 15. And if we change plus with minus and run, it gives 5. So the summary is we can perform different calculations on variables and store the calculation result in another variable, and we can use that variable further in our program. Now let's work with some string variables. Let's create variable first name having value Saif, last name having Nadeem. So I have two variables, first name and last name. What I want to do is I want to show full name on the console. For that I can write print first name plus last name. Keep in mind, whenever we use plus between two string values, this will simply concatenate them. The plus will simply merge the two string values together. If we press run, you can see first name and last name. We can achieve the same thing using another variable. Let's call it full name. And it can be first name plus last name. So now we can print full name. If we press run, you will see the same result. Means we can merge different string variables together and store the longer string in some other variable to use further. Let's say here I want to introduce a space between first name and last name. To do that, I will write another plus here, and between these two plus signs I will introduce another string having nothing except a space. Press run. You can see a beautifully formatted full name now. So that's the basic use of string variables. Now let's learn some rules of writing variable names. Rule number 1. A variable name cannot start with a number. If we do that, you can see the editor is giving error. We can use number in between or at the end of a variable name, and that will be fine. Rule number 2. We cannot use special character in variable name. Let's say if I introduce percentage. This is invalid. Number 3. We cannot use space between variable name. Let's say if I try to make variable my age. That's again a mistake. What I can do is, instead of writing space, I can write underscore, and that is allowed. So these were some basic rules of writing variable name in Python. So far we have seen how to create and use variables. But you may think why we need variables in our programs. Let's say here we have created a variable to store 25.6 and we are printing this variable. So you can think why I need to store this value in a variable and then use that variable. Instead, I can remove all this and simply print 25.6 and that will give me same result. So what's the benefit of using variable? Let's suppose you need to print this value 5 times. So copy this and paste 5 times. Press done and you see 25.6 5 times. Okay, now let's say you need to change this value to 27.5. What you have to do is change the value at all 5 places. So you will write 27.5 . So you will write 27.5 at all 5 places. And in big programs, it mostly happens that we use some value dozens of times. Changing the value at all places will be very inefficient and that will waste time and effort. Now let's say in this case, if we use variable, what will happen? Create variable temperature and print temperature 5 times. Now if I want to change this, I can simply change it here 27.5 and the change will automatically reflect at all places where this variable is being used. So this is the major benefit of using variables, that whenever we need to change variable value, we can simply change it where the variable is defined. The second benefit of using variables is that it makes our code meaningful. Let's say if my friend comes and checks this program, he can understand this pretty easily, that I am creating a temperature variable and printing temperature 5 times. But in this case, the code is confusing. My friend will not understand what I am doing here. What is this 27.5 and why I am printing it 5 times? So using variables, our code becomes meaningful. That's the second benefit of using variables.